Episode 2 The Uncreated Man. Not a Magic Tea Shop. 2029. 5 years later. Move over, everyone. Out of my way. Give me my coffee before that guy Idris. The monster, Grobobolo-Popkus, pushed its way through the crowded magic dispensary. A man with the Navy SEAL hat, the next in line, frowned and crossed his arms. Evening light that had fell upon him seemed to sparkle. Idris prepared Grobo's coffee and added 2 shots of espresso and a touch of cream. She reflected on how drastically her life had changed in the past few years, or however long it was. Things had started to feel surreal. The longer she worked at the tea shop/magic dispensary, the worse the feeling got. She also found it odd that she seemed to know more about the flowers and teas in the shop than some of the visiting wizards. Or Gladorians, as Idris later found out they're required to call everyone. You obviously can't go around calling yourself Wizards of the Coast without certain people getting upset. Years before, everyone knew magic wasn't real. Now, no other non-magic user knew as much as the 19-year-old shop hand. Well, next to Luni, of course. In truth, she might be one of the best latte artists on the coast. At least in her mind, anyways. She hung out making drinks for people, finding ways to cure strange magical illnesses. Like the man who had come in minutes before with around 15 chickens nudging around his heels. Idris had to explain the spells have consequences, and the cost of his spell had caused the chickens to have attachment anxiety tied to whoever cast them. She made him her special blend of milk tea, and the man relaxed. The chickens, now not anxious like their caster, wandered away. This should have made her feel proud to help those in need, but it didn't. Things had become very odd in her life, yet it didn't feel earned. She felt like a cheater and couldn't wash the feeling away. There was nothing she could do to change it. In a way, she had almost found peace at Novelton Ridge. "This is an outrage," the man in the Navy SEAL hat yelled. "We've been waiting in line for 20 minutes. Grobo shrugged. "Look, I'm jealous you got to work with SEALs. They're so cute," the monster said. "But I'm in a hurry, and your little outburst here is costing me a lot of precious time. Do you know what I am? I'm a spice vampire. If I don't get my pumpkin spice latte soon, I'm going to start craving blood. Wait your turn." "Nah," Grobo said. The man shook his fist. "Someone should teach you a lesson, you nasty thing. You act like you can do whatever you want." Grobo took a sip of coffee in one mouth, but made a slurping sound with all of its other mouths. "I can totally do whatever I want. Don't make Idris use my forbidden carrot wand on you." Idris sighed. Luni always made sure to remind her to never use the moldy carrot wand. The one that Grobo had crafted to help Luni and Taylor send Barry Dick9 to the void. Sure, non-coastal magic users could cast with only the carrot wand without powers, but at what cost? She had heard it 1,000,000 times before. She would never need to use it. The man rolled down his long sleeves and got into a boxing stance. "I'll solve this right now. You walk around acting like you can cure cancer or something." Idris walked from behind the counter. The room fell silent. The man in the hat looked around at the people with their heads hung low. "Grobo can cure cancer," Idris said casually. "Here you go, you magic mutation from hell. Hope you're not too late for your appointment at the Children's Hospital." Grobo waved one hand, saluted with another, and then all the other hands gave her a thumbs up. "See you later, Idris, my fellow sin against nature." The man in the Navy SEAL's hat leapt out of the monster's way. Everyone else in the packed store stepped aside, so Grobobolo-Popkus' path was clear to the door. 101 Main Street, Whispers Bay. Lost in her thoughts, she tugged at her dozens of beaded bracelets around her wrist while closing the front doors of the Not a Magic Tea Shop. She bid the people setting up tents on the sidewalk for the next day's opening goodbye, then ducked into a small path between the dispensary and the shop next door. It led into a parking lot. She expected to walk up the grassy hills to her home in the timber near the shoreline. Her night was to end quietly, alone, like every night. She couldn't wait for it to begin. At first, the never-ending working at the shop had been rewarding. The extra hours testing tea effects had been exciting. Now, years later, she clocked out the moment she could. She knew that she was at another crossroad of her life. Idris worked with the world's most expert herbologist. She was sought after for that reason. After she graduated high school, and only a few days ago, she received a full-ride scholarship to the secret magic college of Hogsnor. Not as a student, but as a teacher. A non-magic user, be teaching a magic class. This was unheard of even in the coastal circles. Idris had a bright future ahead of her if she wanted it. Problem was, she didn't. She felt like she'd be added to the college's freak show collection, put behind glass for everyone to see their expert soul-bounded magic tea maker. She wasn't a giraffe. A young man appeared out of nowhere, grabbing her arm. His face was pale as an onion and his lips quivered. This did not seem the type of fan who drove from the other side of the country to get a picture of Grobobolo Popkus. Please, he pleaded. He unbuttoned his dress shirt cuff, folding back the blue sleeve to reveal 2 bite marks. Some people would pay a lot of money for that, Idris said. Stay out of my personal space. I don't repeat myself. She tried to pass him in the alleyway, but there was not enough space between the buildings. He stood firm, shaking his bitten arm. I have urges. I can't stop, he said. Idris gave him a glare. The same kind someone would get from a fast food worker if they had just ordered a large order minutes before closing. She changed directions to head back towards the main street, into the light where she could be seen by the shop campers. I feel so burned out, I should care. But I don't, Idris thought. Can't be like this. I have a duty to the tailor, to the shop. The cure isn't effective sometimes until the 3rd dose, Idris finally said. Take another treatment, stay away from loved ones and anyone you've ever wanted to bite for fun, and you should be fine with the cinnamon boost and an extra whip. Unless you get urges to howl, then that's a different bag of tea. She felt his hand on her shoulder as he drew closer. She yanked at a bracelet. It snapped off her wrist like the crack of a firecracker. The world around them shook. Waves of frogs fell from the sky, filling the alley with amphibians. What part of my instructions was not clear? Idris asked. I'm not a space vampire, he yelled as he threw frogs down the alley. She turned back, holding a nearby trash can lid to shield herself from the falling non-stop frogs, each one letting out a ribbit before splattering on the ground. You've taken the swift treatment for vampirism, and that stopped the glittering but not the cravings? Who bit you? To her surprise, the man cried, I know not. It happened outside the New Spinner's Pizza. I don't know how to stop hurting people. The only one who can help me. The sky cleared. They stood in the alley, listening to the laughs coming from the crowd camping in front of the store, laughing at the insane amount of frogs on the 101 Main Street. You're telling me someone is going around attacking random people. Who are you? Idris asked. The man stepped forward, sticking out his chest. Kurt, stop playing with me. Tell me what I am, he said in a growl. Monsters are not my area of expertise. It's a Braylon, the shop owner thing, Idris said, witnessing the man's surprised expression. I don't know. Call the shop and leave your info. Get to someplace far away from people you care about until I know what to do. You need to go find this thing, he said. That's what you people at the shop don't understand. Not everything can be healed with flowers and good wishes. Idris frowned. Hearing the words good wishes sent chills down her spine, bringing up memories of well-meaning get-well cards and gifts. I do not hunt. Do as I say. I'll see what I can do, and then I'll call for you. Mr. Fingerhopper's house, night. When Idris needed anything dark or occult, she knew to go to Mr. Fingerhop. He was a frequent customer at the magic dispensary, since he transforms into a wolf every morning if he doesn't come in. Though he worked at a library reading books to children most of the time, he specialized in personalized abnormal book requests. He's the sort of person who keeps a few copies of the Book of the Dead around for his guests to read in the bathroom. However, that night, no one came to the door when Idris rang. Mr. Fingerhopper stayed up at all hours of the night, so this struck her as odd. She checked the door and found it locked. "Fingerhopper?" she called out, entering the house. "If you missed your anti-morning werewolf treatment, Hal 3 times. No Hals came. She looked around, checking under piles of magic spells and cookbooks, just in case he had become trapped in a spell and Spinner's pizza box avalanche like he had a few weeks before. Dealing with the occult always comes with unintended consequences. The effects of a curse sometimes do not take place until years later, so there was always the threat of random junk avalanches happening at the house. "Excuse me," she heard an annoyed voice from the top of a bookshelf in the dining room. A white cat squinted at her, its hair tipped with the color black. "You don't live here." "I didn't know Fingerhopper had a cat. Where is he?" Idris asked, approaching the creature. "Are you freeing me from my existence?" the cat asked. "If you aren't, I don't understand why you think I should care about whatever you asked." Something, and the feline looked off. Other than the talking cat thing. It's the tip of its hair that made Idris recognize what it was. "Oh, you're a magic transmutation, like Robolo Popka's. Look at us, sins against nature, rocking out alongside each other." "You know not what I am," the cat said. "I insist you leave at once, or I will call the police." Idris smirked at this and crossed her arms. "All right, call the police on me. Pick up that phone for your little paws." The cat stared. "I find your manners insensitive, and your existence intolerable. Mr. Fingerhopper is away with Ludi for something or another." "I don't find you adorable," Idris deadpanned. "I have a college quarterback with some bite marks. Says he has some cravings that he's fed on others." "Bite marks? Cravings? It sounds normal for a college football," the cat said. "No, it's not that," Idris said. "This could be new, an unidentified strain that doesn't have a craving transfer treatment yet. If this spreads fast, it could be bad. I need to identify what kind of horror this is." The creature coughed up a hairball. "I'm a cat." "Do you even live here?" Mr. Fingerhopper always had strange animals around. Most of the time, they were supposed to be there. I saw that one time with the light bulb demon really awakened from a 100-year slumber. It took the two of them an entire evening to capture it. The cat said nothing. It did not move, nor did it blink. There was a long, awkward silence before the cat said, "I'm looking for something." "Cows?" I just asked. "Everyone's always looking for cows, but a house is a weird place to look for those. Let's meet halfway. I help you find whatever it is, and you help me figure out where to start hunting vampires or whatnot." "Well, our goals are almost aligned. So close yet not," the cat said. "Oh, the toil of the living is one the taboo. They don't suck up to me like I hear they do to you, though." "The Stage 4 club disbanded," I just said. "You need a can of tuna opened or something before I leave?" "How dare you," the cat said. "You of all people should understand the life that I am doomed to live. I challenge you to a duel to retain my honor. But we shall rain check that fight until further time. I will take my leave. Good day." "People don't suck up to me," I just said. "You want me to be something different from what I am. I have a debt to pay. I don't know how to pay it back." "Crieth me a river, and I shall bring my rowboat, you with such sorrow. Everyone has a destiny, if they like it or not. Yours is coming soon, I fear." The creature vanished into a stack of books. She shrugged off the strange cat encounter and searched the rest of the house, but found nothing more but pizza boxes. While shifting through things, like discounted chew toys, Idris noticed they had changed the design of the pizza box since she and Looney had last eaten there. The new Spinner's Pizza and Nightclub logo was bland, and the giant sticker took up most of the box. This red sticker read in all caps, "Garlic Free." Spinner's used to be known for its garlic butter crust. Why would the new owners change something so popular? Perhaps they were cutting costs, but something about this did not feel right. The only other reason for a well-liked recipe would be that one had an issue with the ingredients. She learned after a quick call that Spinner's is now open all night. Before ending the call, she asked the woman working on the other end of the phone if she could speak with a manager. When asked why, she replied, "I would like to know what your store's association is with the undead." Spinner's Pizza and Dance Club. Asterix. No garlic allowed. The DJ reached across the lit-up mixing table, handing Idris a slice of cheese and jalapenos. She took it, but she set it down a few moments later. The sub-bass rumbled so loud that Idris could feel it in her toes, the tune being one from a group called Three Doors Across and Over by a Block. Several of the dancers were pale-skinned, but most were normal-looking people enjoying their time after work. DJ screamed over the bass drop. Smoke rose from around the dance floor. Lights flashed into colorful display. The row of singing fish heads, a famous staple of their former location, still hung on the wall, now repaired, looking as good as new. Idris missed the old location near the shop. Sometimes when either Idris or Looney felt down, they would close the store, long enough to enjoy a slice of pizza and stroll in Arcadia Park before reopening. Looney, of course, would pay, and this irked Idris that someone still had to take care of her after all these years. Things weren't the same at the new location, not with all the garlic is a sin signs plastered all over. There would not be the same kind of comforts here as she had expected in the past. The world in front of her disappeared. She could see nothing but black and thick smoke. Of course, Idris knew what this was. Transportation spell. When it cleared, she found herself sitting in front of a large oak desk, lit by only a lava lamp. A safety inspection notice was framed next to the window, which was drawn shut. The place smelled of tomatoes, iron, and onions. The lava lamp erupted, breaking the glass and sending its inside splattering across the walls. Idris ducked and covered her head. A match was struck, and the candle was lit. "Oh, don't worry about that," a voice said. "It's sugar glass and cornstarch. Something has to break in order for the spell to work. Spell consequences and all. Welcome to the new Spinner's Pizza and Nightclub." The chair spun around. A man with a handle mustache that seemed to always be waving to her smiled. He winked before saying, "I am Mr. Todd the Genie, owner, non-garlic pizza lover. I understand you were inquiring about our association with the undead." "Well," I just said, "I saw 5 level 2 spice vampires out there dancing with some normals. I know your association. Kurt, quarterback from the college. 2 bite marks, deep, triangular, and thin. Not like bat bites. The swift treatment doesn't work. Whatever attacked this man is unlike anything I've ever seen. I need help finding out what kind of vampire is attacking people in Whispers Bay. Does this pizza shop have anything to do with people getting attacked?" "We are open to everyone 21 and above. I'm not pleased that I'm being questioned like this. We have no sides at Spinner's Pizza," Mr. Tottagini said. "You give out ranch in a cup. That is a side," Idris said. "I'm not looking for trouble. If this is a new strain of vampirism..." "Impossible!" Mr. Tottagini stood to his feet. "The swift treatment cured it for everyone, except those who do not partake of the pumpkin spice for religious reasons." "When's attacking anyone?" Idris said. The man sat back down. I only now remembered. Yeah, the young man attacked by the theater, and next to a shop. I've heard people are dealing with it. You know how these lower life forms are. Now that sort of thing would be dealt with in-house, I would imagine. Wow. You're giving off some vibes, Idris said. So the Vampire Council, or whatever, is looking for who did it, but haven't found them. Hard to believe, even for a spice vampire. I'm here to help. No one said anything about the Vampire Council being real, the mustached man said, or that I was ahead of it. One said that now. I hope you enjoyed the cheese and jalapeno, the man said. As for anything else, I just cooked the dough. Go somewhere else. Because if this strain is new, it was created elsewhere than town. Leave us and our patrons in peace. You and the shop should honor those who do not want to partake of the swift treatment. Not be in such a hurry that dump magic on everything. Come back for the breadsticks, but don't come back asking questions, or else there will be consequences. The not head of a vampire council rapped his knuckles on the desk, seeming to Idris that he wanted her to leave. Your pizza oven isn't hot enough to melt that awful Northern Oregon coast pizza cheese your store is using. Drizzle olive oil over that bad girl and the cheese will melt. The man stood to his feet, both of his fists clenched. Idris stood calmly. Don't give me cooking advice. Your choice has been made then, he said. Our doors are always open. Last call is 1 a.m. on the weekends. Dignine Mansion. If the strain of vampirism was not created by the spice vampires, then Idris knew who the most likely suspect was. After 15 minutes, she found her way inside an unlocked bathroom window of the mansion. The property facing the ocean sat untouched. It had ever since Taylor sent Barry to the void 5 years before. Before Idris knew of magic and vegetable wands, she didn't know the place existed. When everything the Galorian had done came to light, the town locked away Dicknine's property. Idris wondered, while walking through the giant stone hallways, who would decorate their house with statues of themselves. The gold furniture and hand-woven rugs seemed over the top even for rich people. Looking back, Idris was thankful she only had one interaction with Barry Dicknine. In one of his experiments, in an attempt to break free of his own soul bond, Taylor's parents had their souls and identities stripped. Joined with 18 other attacking members of the Not Barry Society, that's what created Grobovolopopkus. Having her hair taken was weird, but that was worse. After wandering through the enormous building, she found the library and flipped the light. A red glow rose from the floorboards, revealing several rows of scrolls and old books. Her first thought was Fingerhopper would have a field day if he were there. They had once considered breaking into the mansion until Looney found out about their plot and put an end to it. She took the staircase by a fireplace up to the second floor. A section of the upstairs library contained a section marked only with the black dot. The binding of the book was made of animal skin. She hoped it was animal skin anyway. She thumbed through a few of the Dick-9 collection, looking for anything that might be useful. Within the cover, she found dark magic spells and chants, but nothing relating to the undead. Idris found little of use, until she came across an odd title in the middle of the row, The Secret Garden, a classic novel, whose movie adaptation has been shown to every student in America before summer break for a very long time. When she tried to pull the book out, a sharp mechanical sound rang out. The floor rotated under her feet, and the light from the room bent in a circle around her. The air left her, and she fell from where she stood, sending her down the never-ending shaft. When she came to, she was face down in the dirt next to a shovel. After Idris had cried out the specks of dirt trapped in her eyes, she realized she was no longer in the library. She lay somewhere in a central courtyard, surrounded by a circular wall. Next to her was a box cart filled with dead plants. She looked around. She could see a light illuminating the train car. When she entered the structure, she found on a shelf something she had never seen before. Flowers with a middle that resembled a black human-like skull. Mushrooms grew along the roots of the plant. Red petals with black tips fell from the flower. That is amazing, Idris thought, reaching for it. I've never seen anything like it. This isn't a Western plant. She felt an icy hand on her back. She turned to face Kirk, who smiled back at her. Another man joined him, another football player. "You help me, only you can save me," Kurt mocked. "You are so weak. I'm not thirsting for blood. Get up and face the garden wall." Idris stated as she was told. She listened as the two men approached her from behind. Her eyes darted to the shovel below her. "Drain half of her and save the rest for when the uncreated man gets here," Kurt told the other player. "What did you say?" Idris asked. "You've heard of Uncreated," Kurt said, shoving her into the wall. "The creation so foul that his caster tried to take back his creation. They called him the Uncreated Man, and your soul is going to heal him beyond what you can imagine." She felt the man's warm breath on the back of her neck. His mouth opened, his fangs touched her skin. Idris ripped a bracelet off her wrist. This caused a wave of sound that knocked everyone back. Like a techno song on the dance floor, the waves kept pulsating over and over. Idris tried to stand, but she and the other two men kept being dragged down by the force of the music. She reached for the shovel. Kurt's hand met hers. They fought, trying to find their footing. Kurt took a hold and swung at her, hitting her ribs. She kneeled over in pain. Kurt circled her and spoke. "Nice bracelets." He swung at her arms. She moved, but the edge of the shovel nicked her. Something in her ribs snapped. Idris winced. "Go ahead. Finish me. My soul bond's gonna return to my place. Taylor will gladly stake you through the heart." "What? You out of bracelets?" Kurt asked. "No. I have one left, but I didn't want to use it." Idris looked at the boxcar. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes. She ripped the bracelet from her wrist. Flames erupted from the ground, catching the two men within. They yelled as Idris felt around for the weapon. She found it and followed the sound of the screams. During the pain, she opened her eyes and stabbed Kurt in the chest with the end of the shovel. He let out a primordial cry before turning into a floating blue dust. Idris recognized this from her experience from the cheese shop. This happens when a soul is being held captive. This vampire was creating vampire clones of people it bit. "What are you?" she said to the last remaining man, still engulfed in magic flames. "I am one of the ragamuffins. Hello, everyone. You can let me, but we are only going to get stronger. The Vampire Council is going to defeat you." "Okay, your voice is annoying. Go back to your sleeper." I just drove the handle of the shovel through the vampire clone's heart, turning the creature into blue dust. Smoke rose from the boxcar. "The flowers," she shouted. She reached inside and broke the thick stems of a handful of skull flowers. Everything around her burst into flames. With the plants on her arm, she ran back to the circle where she had lifted the book. In an instant, she was returned to standing in the library. Later, not a magic tea shop. Idris called for a messenger owl while she attended to her wounds at the front counter of the shop. The owl arrived after a while, but seemed only to be interested in making it known that she was part of the union now. I need to get word to Looney and Mr. Fingerhopper right away. Whatever this is, it's gonna get a lot worse. The owl shook its head. Then you are gonna have to wait until my holiday ends. I'll be glad to take your delivery first thing for a fee, but I'm not doing anything until then. Might be too late. That's it. I'm on my own, Idris said, crossing to the window. The moon lit the misty forest outside the shop, enough to see a figure standing in the middle of the street. He wore a tweed suit and a white mask. His forehead looked deformed, unnatural. His arms seemed sewn on and did not match his skin tone. The man stared back up at her. Well, that's certainly the point of being in a union, isn't it? The owl said, headed for the door. No one tells us what to do anymore, not without paying us for it. Idris withdrew from sight from the window. The man left, limping into the darkness, leaving Idris feeling uneasy, still peering out into the dark street. It's not safe here, you know, said the owl. The tourists keep going missing. People are pointing fingers at each other all over the place. Somebody should do something about it. If you send my message, maybe I could help, Idris said. But I'm on holiday. You don't seem to understand the work-life balance. If you work hard, you gotta play hard, you know, the owl said. Idris filled a vase with water and placed the skull flowers in it. Instantly, the water disappeared as soon as it touched the stem of the plant. Fine. I'll hunt these horrors on my own.